to be able to legalize himself here, paying fines, waiting a long time, going to pre-kindergarten before graduating high school and getting his citizenship. Did I answer your question?
It was a move in the right direction, then, perhaps.
I think it would have, no law's going to be perfect. I think it would have knocked out 90% of the problem. Now, we have, how many tens of thousands of people lined up at the southern border every night. Oh, and by the way, there's a couple thousand in the northern border, and somehow we don't seem to be too concerned about. I sort of wonder if all the guys at Exit 8 were blonde-haired, blue-eyed Canadians. Can you imagine the complaints about them? I mean, think about it for a minute. Okay? So anyway, if instead of having tens of thousands of people lining up at the southern border every night to try to sneak through, and they get caught once and they're sent back to Mexico, get caught twice, sometimes they're stuck in jail for a while, but the jails are jammed full, for hundreds of miles from the border north. If there were a way for them to come in legally, now we would have a few dozen or 100, and those would be the bad guys. Those are the drug runners. Those are the traffickers, etc. So now we'd be getting rid of a whole bunch of the haystack, and pretty much we'd be stuck with needles, and we could catch the bad guys instead of them being hidden in tens of thousands of people who just want to cut open chickens in Iowa. All right, questions on this side? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, sir.
How did the other countries, Canada, UK, handle their immigration problem? Is there any model there?
Okay, interestingly, in the English-speaking world, first let me take Canada, because Canada seems to always be hungry for more population, so it's a lot easier to get their equivalent of a green card, okay? But in the English-speaking countries, in general, Australia, US, New Zealand, UK, there's a very hard line against immigrants and very tough immigration laws. In those countries, when people come here, scarred from attacks because of their politics or their religion or their race, and they're running away from persecution, we are the countries who tend to accept the fewest refugees, whereas we've signed the Convention on Refugees at the UN saying we would accept a certain percentage. And we find many other countries are accepting many more than we are. Countries not as wealthy as ours that can absorb them. That's number one. Number two, interestingly, in Germany has, and they wanted to, some people in Congress wanted to pass this. In Germany, there was a large influx of Turks to work in factories 50 years ago, 30, 40, 50 years ago, after World War II. I'm not sure why, maybe it was the population was partly decimated or whatever, but they went in there. Now, in the United States, if you're born in the United States, you're a citizen, and that is true in many, many countries in the world. In Germany, if your parents are immigrants, even legal immigrants, if you are born in Germany, you are not a German citizen, you are an immigrant. And if you have kids, now there's grandkids and great-grandkids, several generations, many of them never been to Turkey, don't speak Turkish. They are Germanized in every way, shape, and form. And they are not German citizens, and they are deported. And we have a slightly similar situation. We have children who were brought to our country at the ages of 2, 4, 6 years old. They've grown up Americanized, okay? You see the kid who comes here when they're 15 years old. When they go to school, the top button is buttoned, they're clean, they're presentable, and they respect their teachers. The ones who come here when they're 2, 4, 6 years old, they're Americanized. They got that strand of red hair, they got the holes in their pants, they talk slang. When they come with their, and your children and grandchildren, when they come to visit you and they bring a friend, there's a good chance that friend is an undocumented immigrant, and you cannot tell. And that kid has never been to their home country. They don't speak their parents' native language all that well, but they are deportable. You deport them, it's like deporting an American kid. Psychologically, they are Americanized. They are just as ready as any American kid, ready or not ready, to pick up a gun and defend their country, to do all the right things, etc., etc. They're innocent. They were just brought in over the border. Did I answer your question? As best I could. And then 2, 3, yes, sir.
Did you forget me?
Oh, did I? All right, let me take him, then you, and then we'll go back up. All right, so we'll do him. Okay,
My
yes.
question is, you've touched on, but really haven't addressed the question of that 13th and 14th and 15th million that are lined up for the community. What should we be doing about that?
Well,
Can you repeat the question, please?
okay, the question is, Philip, you talked about the 12 million who are here. What about the other 12 and 20 and 50 million who want to come here? Okay. Well, first of all, there's tens, hundreds of millions of people in the world who want to come here, but only a very small percentage of them are going to do the time, spend the money, the time, and the effort to get to the border to cross it, or do what it takes to get a visitor visa. 99 out of 100 people asking for a tourist visa don't get it. Okay, you got to show you own property, you have a job, you know, that you're not coming here to work. So, my response to that is, if there were a way for the number we need for our economy to come here legally, they wouldn't be lined up at the border, or there'd be many fewer lined up at the border. That's my response to that question. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I came from Holland about 55 years ago. They needed me as a teacher. In 6 years, I was legally admitted. My wife and son, a 1-year-old, were legally admitted. After 6 years, we became American citizens. At 55, 50 or longer. In those days, I think the population of America was about 150, maybe 180 million people. In those days, there were very few illegal immigrants. Today, you have 40 million illegal immigrants. Now, they talk in the Congress, as you know, and about the details. But what the Republicans say, I'm not the Republican, but they have their arguments. And the unions have their arguments. But they forget one big thing, and that is the historical argument. 400 years ago, it was for all the here in Indians, right? There were the Picats, there were Iroquois. Where are they? All right? I come from Holland. They are very liberal there with the immigrants. So it's not a big city anymore where you can, well, and anyhow, there are half of the people are Moroccans. They have absolutely no, any equivalent values of the original Dutch. There are another million Turks. What are you doing? What is happening in the long run? And if you look at it historically, the Roman Empire, and you go now today to England, and there are certain parts, and I lived for quite a while in England too, there are cities where you think you live in Pakistan. It's just, and that element is not discovered. You talk about unions, you talk about the Republicans,
If I may address that. First of all, I think in Europe, there's the whole Islam and non-Islam. The vast majority, 97% of immigrants coming to the United States are Catholic and Protestant, and their cultural values are much more similar to ours. That's number one. Number two, you find that the kids growing up, they're Americanized. So, plus also, fortunately, we don't have the laws as in Germany where you are an outsider in permanency, generation after generation after generation. And, yes, sir.
The common impression is that a green card is as good as a passport, but it can't be. How does it fall short?
Okay. First of all, a passport only an American citizen can get. An American citizen can vote. An American citizen can serve on a jury. An American citizen can commit a crime, go to jail for years and years and years, and when they get out, they get to stay here.